mean, granted, you and I both know what it's like to say no.
Oh, yeah.
Course. Before we finally get clonked on the head and say, okay. And I have to even go back to that experience that I had earlier, as a young woman, and understand that every single thing that I've experienced has been for a specific reason. And I just thought quickly just now about the fact that this woman, I would assume it's a woman who was writing to you on YouTube, that asked about the angels. And, I know that angels are around me. And even in that moment, where it was one of probably the worst experiences ever, I know that the angels were around me. I was learning a lesson, but I was surviving. I was not in any, imminent danger of losing my life at that moment. And flashing forward to the future, I remember, when I had my own gym, and a young woman came in to talk to me, and she'd just been raped a week before. She didn't know why she was coming in to talk to me about it, but she felt that she had to come to talk to me and ask me if I could help her. And we talked about it. And at that moment, when she walked away, I thought, my God, if I had not had that experience, I would not be able to identify with her and to tell her that it was okay, she was not the only one. We seem to think that when things happen to us that are in a negative, have some kind of a negative reaction or intention towards us, that, we're victims. We're a victim of a moment. We're a victim of a circumstance that happened in that moment. But once that moment is over, we're no longer victims. We're victors over that situation because we survived. And what do we do with that? Where do we take that? What did we learn from it? And I think that being here in this moment with you talking about this was part of all of this. And every situation that you've had, your loss of business, through the hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
and your disorder, and everything, what has that made us? It's made us, attainable by people, approachable by people. It's made us able to identify with what is going on with people around the world. And that to me is important because we have experiences that we can share with others, and they can share with us. And we have ways of saying, this is what happened to me when I went through that. You're not alone.
Exactly.
Right.
It's, it's funny how, as usual, it's not funny, everything unfolds on purpose, but
Right.
my friend, one of my dear friends here, just went through a major little upheaval. Well, for them, when you're going through it, it's a big upheaval.
Right.
And
It's their experience, right?
right, and I helped her through it and whatnot, and I said, you know what? Because she's like, oh my God, this never happened to me before. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. This never happened to me before. And I was like, you know what? Just think about it. Once you get through this, you're going to be an expert, and you'll be able to help other people get through it.
Right.
And it's almost like the one of the passages from Reflections of One, where they said, everyone goes to school every day. We don't have a choice. Everything is a lesson. And life is about learning and experiencing and gaining wisdom and understanding and being able to share that wisdom and understanding with others. A great version of that is the symbology in Wiccan as far as like the maiden, the mother, and the crown. The crown has been through all of life's experiences. And now she has the ability to share her wisdom with the mothers and the maidens of the world. And the same thing goes with men, of course. But, back to, going through experiences and whatnot, we talk about creating experiences. Let's talk a little bit about how we've basically, when we incarnate in this world, I'm not going to say we created those experiences, but we created a trajectory of our lives, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does make sense to me.
It's like we're creating the trajectory of where we're going in this lifetime, and in order, like Annabelle said, in order to get there, sometimes these experiences must occur in order to take us to that next step, which leads to the next step, which leads to the next step. Also, it goes with population, with society, with humanity, with cultures and civilizations, of going through ups and downs and going through different upheavals. everyone, it's funny because it seems like right now the world is going through a very very much of an upheaval and whatnot. But we think like, oh, poor us. This has never happened before. Well, guess what? It's happened many, 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 many times over. Even with America. I mean, I don't know if everybody remembers the War of 1812 or the Spanish-American War. And, it's not the first time that we're being attacked. I mean, the British burned down the White House in 1812. So it's only been, we're only 200 and something years old. We're a very young country. The Depression was only, 70 years ago or whatnot. So
Right.
it's just because this generation or my generation or the one before or after me hasn't experienced it, we can't take that personally. It's just a matter of cycle. It's a matter of kind of like like the world's idea of the between the thoughts meditation. It will peak and it will subside. It will peak and it will subside. And I'm not into the money market or anything like that, but if anything, I would be like, you know what, buy cheap. All the stocks are down,
You know
buy
what? You're
cheap.
right. Everything has its place and time and an opportunity. And, one of the things that I think about often, especially in these past couple of weeks, is when are we going to learn? Why is it that we keep going into these peaks of highs and lows? Why are we going to cycle over and over again? Why are we having these experiences over and over again? Because we're not learning. Why is your friend afraid that their child will be abducted? Because of the media, absolutely, it's all over. But also because it's time that we begin to have family values again. Time to do things together. Don't let your kids go out by themselves. It's not the same world anymore. Get back into the simple things of life that we enjoyed, not less than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Not less than 30 years ago, we had family dinners. Every night, people had dinner together. Every night, parents were working with their kids at homework. Granted that the dynamic of family has changed drastically within this last 15 years, but there is still that we can say, you're my family, you are my child, we are going to have dinner together. We are going to do something together today that is going to let me know that you are here with me and that you are safe here and that it's going to allow you to feel secure.
Exactly.
We're letting our kids go out in the world at a very young age. We're letting them go to people's houses that we don't know. We're letting them go out into these team sports and dropping them off and not picking them up because we forget because we're so busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to stop. And the time to make change is when things hit rock bottom. I think our government has hit rock bottom. The world has hit rock bottom. And that's why we are looking at it and wanting to change it. The question is, will we act? How are we going to react? Our reaction to the situation is going to determine the outcome of what is to happen next. What are we going to do about that?
Right.
That is the question for right now.
And the answer is to begin to visualize what we wish to see. What do we want to become? What do we want our world to be? Instead of focusing, as Annabelle was saying, on what the media tells us about abductors and predators and this and that and all the sorrows of the world. It's funny how, and I'm gonna be a little political personal here. It's funny how I get so attacked when let's say I put up a chemtrail video or I put up an exposing the New World Order video or something like that, and people are like, "Oh, you're being so negative. You're being so negative." I'm like, "Oh yeah, but yet you'll sit there and watch CNN 24 hours a day and believe everything that you're hearing."
Right.
I'm like, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to let you know that you're being manipulated. That you're being manipulated. And, Alex Jones, as crazy and wild and how much he screams, he's got it right when he says it's a war of information. This is an information war. And they're trying to manipulate your mind. I don't want to,
Absolutely.
I don't want to sound tinfoil and say that they're brainwashing you. But if you think about it, when you see it over and over and over and over and over again, you're like, oh, then it must be. Then this is the way the world is. But, sometimes we just need to swallow that bitter pill and say, wow, man.